this is Kelly, and I want to talk today about being an American and how we're brought up, especially being a child in the 70s and 80s, being mass consumers. I grew up in the age of the TV dinner, processed food, the invention of the microwave, the invention of plastic packaging, and so for a while, my parents got away from a lot of their traditional values. We still grew a garden, we still had an orchard, we still had chickens and ducks and duck eggs and chicken meat and wild game. So I probably grew up better than some. But unfortunately, we also enjoyed the TV dinner occasionally and pulling stuff out of the freezer that was already processed and frozen and reheating it in the microwave. Well, as I've gotten older, I've tried to relearn what my grandparents, great-grandparents, and their ancestors knew and how they were brought up. My goal is to get away from plastics, get away from consumerism. And so I'm actually sitting at a Formica tabletop, which is a type of plastic. So even sometimes when we try to, it can be quite a challenge. I'm house sitting right now, so I'm not out in the wilderness this week. So these are some seeds that I've saved out of some peppers. And this is a tomato that I've grown, and I just harvested it in the rain. So when I eat this tomato, I'm going to save a few seeds. To me, saving a few seeds is very important. First of all, it gets me away from Monsanto. I prefer to grow and gather and hunt and trap for my own food. And it allows me to be connected with my food from start to finish. Sowing a seed helps you to reap the rewards. If you know what's going in your body, you know how it's going to be somewhat affected. Garbage in, garbage out. We learned that, at least I did, in junior high. And it's very true. It was about that time in my life that I started to have some self-awareness and realize that I had choices. I didn't have to go home and eat a TV dinner. I could actually go home and harvest things out of the garden that I grew. And even though I was still living at home, I could start to make my own choices and gather my own wild edibles and my own wild mushrooms, which I did. I spent a lot of time foraging as a teenager and starting to make my own choices. So I've become more aware of what goes in my body and where it comes from. And by the planting of a seed and harvesting a seed, first of all, I know where the seeds come from, and I know how that seed was planted, and I know how much love went into growing that plant. And so then when I eat that fruiting body and save some of the seeds for the future generation, it comes full circle, and it helps to regenerate for posterity. So it begins life anew. Otherwise, it would just be expelled. And in the case of many mammals that poop in the woods, they're spreading their excrement, which is spreading seeds all over the place. And I do this as I live off the grid in the wilderness. But when I'm in an outhouse or I'm in a regular home with a regular septic field, I'm not spreading any seeds. So it's time to manually do that, to get those seeds out before you throw that apple core in the garbage. And even if it doesn't end up being a productive grafted apple tree, you can still plant that seed. It's still a plant that's growing, living, helping provide oxygen for the earth. So just wanted to give a little short explanation about why I harvest seeds out of those things that I gather, whether it's something I grew or something in the wild.